Welcome to Stats Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. We're blessed enough to have an interview with John Noble from Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, and he's also the basketball coach at Breathitt County Basketball. How are you doing tonight, man?
Oh, doing good, Seth. I appreciate you having me back on, man.
Absolutely, man. And I know you fought in some matches here lately and stuff for Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. How's it feel to be back out there?
Well, actually, I've not been back in the ring just yet. I've worked out a time or two, but I've not actually had a match. So, we're trying to find the right time that feels right. But I'm looking forward to getting back in probably within the next month or so.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be exciting for all the Appalachian Mountain Wrestling fans.
Yeah, we're actually having Appalachian Mountain Wrestling at Breathitt High as a fundraiser for my basketball team on September 11th. So we're pretty excited about that.
And what time is that show?
I believe that is a 7:00 start. Doors open at 6:30. Anybody looking for advance tickets can find me online, or if you know any of my players, we'll have those tickets available early next week.
Absolutely, man. That'll be a heck of a show, man.
It will.
And I know you've fought with you've tag team and fought against somebody I just interviewed, Kid Cash, man. And what was it like to be in a ring with a legend like him?
Well, at the time, it's been a while ago, so he was probably a legend in the making at the time. He probably wasn't quite the legend he is today, but we tagged one time in Virginia. I want to say in 1998 or 99, we tagged up. I can't remember who against. I remember that we won, but I can't remember who against. And then I actually wrestled him for a company called NWA Rocky Top in Knoxville, Tennessee, back in 2005. I wrestled him down there, and that's the last time that I saw him. But good guy, easy to work with, easy to talk to. And super. Well, you've seen him in the ring. I mean, super talented guy, and he's been all over. He's been every major promotion. He's been in Japan. He was in Japan 20 years ago or longer. So I'm sure, and I may go back and watch the interview myself, but I'm sure it was a great interview.
Absolutely, man. He talked about winning the Cruiserweight Championship and his time in ECW, and even the month he spent in WCW and how it was the crossover after WWE bought WCW.
Right. Yeah. I actually, he had a tag partner in ECW called Easy Money. And we wrestled a lot with Easy Money when I first started, like 97, 98, probably up to about early 2001, wrestled a lot with Easy Money. He went by Skyfire back then, and he was a super talented guy. So he actually made several pairs of my wrestling tights. So he's another very talented guy. He'd be a good interview for you at some point, probably.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you can, do you have him on Facebook or anything?
Yeah, I've got him on Facebook. I've got Easy Money on his own. He's under his real name on Facebook, but if you want me to, I'll hit him up.
All right, yeah, man, that would be awesome. He fought in, if I'm not mistaken, he fought in WWE for a little bit, didn't he?
I think he did some. He did the Indies with us for quite a bit. And then he ended up, it's been so long ago. I think he went to, oh gosh, I hope I don't have it backwards. I think maybe he was in WCW as Jason Jett, and then went on to ECW and developed the Easy Money character. So, but very innovative guy. He was doing a lot of moves back in the late 90s that guys today are just now starting to do, like Adam Page, the Buckshot Lariat. He calls that the money clip. He was hitting me with that in 1998. So he's a super innovative guy. He's been around, but I'll definitely message you when we get off here and see if he'd be interested in coming on with you.
Definitely appreciate that, man. And him and Kid Cash was tag team partners, so I bet he has some great stories about him and Kid Cash tag teaming and his individual wrestling as well. He probably has some heck of stories with that as well, man. And I definitely appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, man. I've heard of him before. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Did he fight an Impact too, or?
It's also cluttered up in my head now. I think he did. I think he was down there for a little bit. He kind of bounced around a little bit after he left ECW. I think he kind of bounced around a little bit, but Yeah, I think so. I would have to go back and look, to be honest.
Yeah. He he might have been in the. Was he a cruiserweight in WWE or?
Yeah, he wrestled a cruiserweight style. He was a little bigger. I think he was around 240, 245 wrestling the cruiserweights and doing a lot of the stuff those guys were doing it, but he was doing it at 245 pounds, which was really impressive.
Yeah, man, that's hard to do, and definitely would love to interview him, man. Have you actually fought against him before? I mean, I
Oh
know you
yeah,
said that you've fought at like same promotions as him. Have you tag teamed
yeah.
with him as well?
We wrestled a lot from like 1998 to 2000, probably more against each other than as I don't know if we ever tagged, but we had several singles matches and we had a few tag matches as well. And he would have random partners, and Eddie Browning was my partner. So we did a lot with him back in the day.
You're right. His name in WCW was Jason Jett.
Yeah, I thought that was right.
He said he fought from 2000 to 2001 in WCW.
Yeah, he was there like right when it closed. I think, was he in ECW first?
It says, I believe so, maybe.
I think he was with ECW right as it was dying, and then right as it was dying, he got signed with WCW, and then right when WCW was dying, I think he may have caught on with WWE for a little bit, or Impact or TNA at the time.
Impact, it says he fought for. I don't think he ever fought for WWE. He might have did.
Okay, I'm sure he probably did some dark matches at least.
Yeah, it does show him on Impact, WCW, and ECW.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't say anything about WWE, but I mean, I'm sure he did like some heat matches or what was that other show that started with the V? Velocity?
Hey, Velocity, they had Heat, Velocity. They had a Shotgun Saturday Night show that they ran there for a while out of like some bars in New York that they used a lot of indie guys on.
Wow. I don't know why WWE went away from that, honestly.
I don't know. Probably, I imagine cost, if anything else. So, live shows are pretty expensive from what I understand.
Yeah. I know you fought a match for Impact, which is very impressive as well. And you fought with another guy that I've had on, Chance Profit.
Yeah, I've known Chance Profit since he broke in. He's a little bit younger than me. I think he may have started right after I did. Love that guy. Super guy, super outstanding human being. Good Christian, good Christian man, shares his faith with people willingly and openly. And man, yeah, you can't beat Chance Profit.
Absolutely. Definitely prayers for him at this time.
Yeah.
Seeing he was dealing with COVID and stuff.
Oh, you know what? I didn't know. I know he'd had surgery maybe on his shoulder or something a while back, but I didn't know about the COVID thing. Okay. Wow. I didn't know. I'll have to check in on him, I guess.
Absolutely. Man, everybody's getting there right now, sadly. I know about 3 or 4 family members that have it right now.
Okay. Well, but, probably, prayers for them too. It's, it's pretty serious stuff,
Absolutely.
And it looks like it's, with this new strain or whatever it is, looks like it's picking back up. We'll see. We're getting ready. We're getting into football season. We got cancellations left and right. And I don't know, man. We just kind of got to do the best we can. Pray for the best.
Absolutely, man. And whenever you get in the ring, man, I bet it's gonna feel you're gonna be like so excited and nervous at the same time, ain't you?
Yeah, I've actually not been in the ring. I've not had a match in a year and a half, and I've not been in an AMW ring in almost 2 years. So yeah, really nervous. I mean, really excited, really nervous. It's kind of like I'm hoping. I've never taken off this long, so I'm kind of hoping it's like riding a bike, but from a physicality standpoint, between the bumps and the cardio involved, it's a different animal. I'm trying to get my training in line with getting wrestling ready for these next few months, next couple months. And it's a little difficult. I'm not getting younger either, Seth. So we're trying to up the training, trying to get ready. But I am really excited about it.
Absolutely, man. And I know you're also excited for basketball season. And speaking of basketball season, at some point I would love to have you and like the starting 5 or Austin Morris and some other players from that Buckhorn team that won region on, and we could do kind of an interview about that season and stuff, man, because somebody needs to cover that for sure.
Yeah, that that team, man, that's a special group of guys, man. I mean, I really, I've been very fortunate to coach great kids. I mean, I've been a head coach. This is my 21st year. I've been a coach overall at one level or another for 26 years. And every group is special in its own way. But now that group, there are a lot of kids on that 2016 team, man, that they didn't pass the look test. I guess if you looked at them, you probably didn't see a regional championship level basketball team, but they were a great group of individuals, man. They're great kids. They had a lot of toughness. They had persevered. They've been through a lot individually. And then the way that team just gelled and came together from the beginning of February on throughout to the state tournament was, man, it was really special to watch.
Yeah. And who is your favorite wrestler to fight against in Untitled Wrestling?
Oh man. Okay. Man, that is a tough question. I don't know if I have a set favorite opponent. I've got several matches. Probably my favorite match that I've ever had, if I had to pick one, would have been 1998 against Tracy Smothers. That was the match that kind of put me on the map in Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, in that area, because I'd only been wrestling a couple of years and I'd been a tag team wrestler. And that was my first big singles match. And Tracy, people have no idea. God rest Tracy's soul, man. But Tracy was a wrestling machine, especially at that time. He could just go and go and go and go. And man, we had a match in I don't have the footage of it anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but I really wished I had that match on film, because it was the match. I got booked. I got bookings and I got phone calls just because people had seen that match, or that Tracy had told them that I was good, And but that's probably my all-time favorite match. But my matches with Tracy, wrestled with a guy named Brad Thomas down in Rocky Top. Had a show stealing match down there for him in 2005. Always had great matches with Eddie Browning, and great tag matches with Eddie. Had a really good match with Kyle Maggard a couple years ago. Had a good match with Matt Sigmund a couple years ago also. That's off the top of my head. Had some really cool moments, maybe not great matches, but some cool moments. Got to tag with Sweet Stan Lane and the Midnight Express. One time at a outdoor event in, where was that at? Hardy, South Carolina, outside of Hilton Head. So got to do that. Got to wrestle and tag with Tom Pritchard and Ricky Morton and Tim Horner, and I mean just too many names. Got to meet Ronnie Garvin. I got to put Ronnie Garvin in the Hall of Fame for AMW, and Ronnie Garvin was my hero growing up, and that was really cool. And I'll be here all night talking about this stuff, man. But I've been really blessed to do a lot of pretty cool things.
Yeah, I mean, what did it feel like to put Ronnie Garvin in the Hall of Fame, to give him the?
Oh man, yeah, it was wild. I'm not a guy that really gets starstruck. I don't fanboy out much about things. I mean, we were fortunate to meet. We met Stone Cold Steve Austin. Was able to spend a couple hours around him one time. Eddie Brown had an idea of working at an event in Cincinnati at the very first Brian Pillman Memorial Show. Actually, we got to hang around him for a couple hours. And that was cool. But with Ronnie Garvin, I freaked out. I mean, and I was in my early 40s. I mean, I wasn't like 22 or anything. I was in my early 40s, and I freaked out because Ronnie Garvin was the guy that I grew up watching. I mean, Ronnie Garvin was like my Superman, Batman, Hulk Hogan, all in one. Ronnie Garvin was my hero before Hulk Hogan was really even Hulk Hogan. And they brought him into R.W. Combs. AMW did I think maybe their first year in existence, and brought him in. I wouldn't shake hands, man. I couldn't even speak. It was wild, but he was cool. He talked to me a long time. We took a picture or two together. I got to put him in the Hall of Fame. Got to give a speech. Got to share my stories. Some of my stories about watching him at the old A.B. Combs wrestling Randy Savage or Ox Baker or Radamice or whoever it was, And man, it was it was surreal. I kind of fanboyed out a little bit on that one.
Yeah. I think anybody would have if they seen their childhood hero.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was incredible.
Yeah, like me when I interviewed Mike Goldberg, it was crazy, man, because I listened to that dude on UFC forever.
Yeah. I mean,
And then
go ahead.
and then you get to see your hero right in front of you, man. I bet that's how you felt with Ronnie
Yeah. I mean,
Ronnie
it was,
Garvin.
I mean, I was 10 years old again, and then I got to wrestle in front of him and he got to watch my match. It was really cool. We went on a couple years later. I got to wrestle in front of Lanny Poffo and got to put in, and also we, got to be around the Battens or Bart Batten. Got to be around him quite a bit. He and his brother Brad really helped me, Eddie Brown and I, when we first started. So, and then we got to later on, got to put them in the Hall of Fame. Of course, Brad had passed on at that point. But, like I said, man, just too much cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, have you also fought in OVW as well? And have you actually heard from OVW here lately?
No, I've not. I've not been in touch with OVW in several years. I went up there. Maybe I probably did 8 to 10 shows with them around 2010, 2011, somewhere there. I think it was different management time, different ownership. It was a cool experience. At the same time, it wasn't the place for me to hang around long term, because the way they do business up there is just a little bit different than the way we do it down here. Not in a bad way, just different. And and I couldn't be there regularly. OVW is one of those places, if you can't be there regularly, it's really hard for them to do anything with you. Well, that's any place really, but especially a place like that that's 3 hours away.
Yeah, I remember you doing a show at North Central.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
Yeah, and that show was absolutely packed.
Yeah, it was a good show. My first big match was at Knott Central. It was what year were you born, Seth? I'm gonna feel old. What were you?
98.
Okay, so the year you were born, Eddie Brown and I main evented at Knott Central against the Rock and Roll Express in front of 4,000 people. Wow. So that was my first big match. I'd been wrestling about 8 months. They put Eddie and I in the main event against the Rock and Roll Express, and there were like 4,000 people at Knott Central Gym. So that was crazy. That was insane. We hit the ring, and then the Rock and Roll Express hit the ring behind us and chased us out, and it was, man, we were the bad guys, I guess, if you will. And but it was, I get chill bumps still thinking about that moment.
Yeah, and I bet you was nervous for that match.
Oh yeah. I think I still get nervous even now, but then, especially because I'd only been wrestling 8 months, and Eddie had been wrestling almost 2 years, I think, at that point. And of course, the Rock and Roll Express with the Rock and Roll Express, they could have took 2 folding chairs in there and had a really great match, and that's actually pretty much what they did. That's about how good I was. It was about like a folding.
Yeah, it seems like the Young Bucks want to be just like them.
I think I think the Young Bucks, I think they have that. I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm not a huge fan of that style of wrestling. It looks more like more like a bunch of swimmers doing gymnastics that does professional wrestling. That's just me. I mean, God bless them for getting to do it. God bless them for getting to make a living. I'm for anybody that can make a living in pro wrestling. More power to you. Go do it. Get your money. Do whatever you got to do. But I watch those guys, and they're 140 pounds each, soaking wet. Bumping guys all over the ring twice their size. And it's just it's entertaining, I guess, to a degree, but it's not wrestling. At least not for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not like the traditional wrestling of like back in the early 2000s and stuff. They do a lot of gymnastics, you're right.
And they are really, really good at it. I mean, they are, to do what they do takes a very high level of skill. And I'm not saying that at all. It's just, I'm not much on one of these matches where there's a lot of suspension of disbelief when you see guys actively helping each other do moves. It's that kills a lot of it for me.
Yeah, when you pick someone up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you see 2 guys standing on the top rope holding on to each other's shoulders, and it's like they're getting ready to jump off the top of a big rock over Buckhorn Lake together, and they're going to go together.
Yeah, that's definitely a good reference.
A lot of really cool stuff that takes an extremely high level of skill, but it's not the sport that I grew up with.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, man, cruiserweights was really the ones that started the high flying stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for me as a fan, I think it started. For me, it started with Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those matches.
Yeah, I've heard of Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite Kid's my guy. Dynamite Kid's my all-time favorite wrestler. But the stuff he and Tiger Mask were doing in Japan 40 years ago, is the stuff that guys are trying to rip off today. But they were doing it at a high rate of speed with no obvious cooperation, and it was just boom, 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 and it all made sense. And of course, they paid the price. Especially Dynamite. He paid the price for that style of performance, or for that style of wrestling. But it did. It went on with cruiserweights, and like when I first started, Seth, I'm 225 now. I was 185 pounds when I first started wrestling, same height, about 5'8". And I was always like the small, even when I got up to 200, 210, 215 pounds, I was still like almost every night the smallest guy in the locker room. A lot of nights I was the smallest guy by a lot. Now I walk in the locker room and I'm probably an average size guy now in a wrestling locker room. So yeah, so it's changed in that regard. And a lot of it is, like you said, a lot of that is the cruiserweight influence.
Yeah, I mean, cruiserweights. I don't know why WWE went away from that.
I don't know. I don't know if WWE has ever been a big fan of the cruiserweight style of wrestling. They probably wrestle especially back in the day, because guys were wrestling 300 nights a year. You couldn't do that every night. If you imagine these days, like the Young Bucks, I mean, I'm sure they're probably still wrestling 150 times a year, maybe. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize, but they could do what they're doing 350 nights a year like the guys used to do, because physically you're not going to hold up doing that for that long. So the cruiserweight style, and then I think in the relaxed schedule, as far as not as many events that you're performing in, I think that's got a little bit to do with it too. It allows you to kind of push the envelope a little bit more because you don't got to do it 6 nights a week.
Yeah. And I know your basketball season is getting ready to start here soon. I know you're very excited for that.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. We got a great group of guys, had a really good summer together. We've actually started workouts yesterday, or weightlifting and preseason conditioning. We do have 11 guys in football. So, we got guys out there. They're actually, they're taking the fight to Dunbar right now. I actually got to check in on the score here in a little bit. We were down 6.5. But Dunbar, the big 6A school up there in Lexington, and I think we have 12 guys out with I think maybe COVID issues right now. I think about 12 guys out, and so we're up there, and we're taking the fight to the Bulldogs Dunbar tonight. But like I said, 11 or 12 of our basketball guys are on that football team right now. So we won't have them for a while. Hopefully, we don't have them for a long while. We feel like our football team has a really good shot this year to make a deep playoff run, but with basketball, man, I'm very excited about this bunch. Super athletic team. We have a lot of areas to improve on, but it's an exciting team and a really good group of guys to work with.
Yeah, man, that's definitely great. And last question I got for you is, are you gonna watch AEW at 10 tonight? And if CM Punk does come, what do you think? What kind of? I know the crowd's gonna absolutely go insane, but do you think it's gonna make AEW just as big as WWE?
I don't think it will make it as big as WWE, but I think it changes the playing field a little bit. Because when you get a guy like CM Punk, you're talking about. I mean, I think professional wrestling. You've got your Hogan Flairs on one tier. For me, you've got like your Cena. Or Hogan, Flair, Rock, Stone Cold, those guys. I think your next tier, you've got guys like Cena, but maybe Ultimate Warrior. Guys on that second. I think Punk is that very next tier, elite level guy, and AEW is showing they're willing to put the money out to get that level of talent. I think it's a game changer, but I don't know. WWE is $1 billion company. It's $1 billion wrestling company. AEW is a wrestling company owned by a billionaire. So it's not quite the same thing. So WWE, that $1 billion, that it's a wrestling company. AEW's a wrestling company, just happens to have a billionaire because all their money came from other things. It looks like they're willing to spend it. I'm actually interested. I'm gonna check it out, man. That's the whole purpose of them doing that. Is to get guys to check it out. So I think I'm. Well, let me rephrase. I got to see if my wife will let me watch it. They like she may want the TV tonight. But if so, I think we'll check it out because I think it's interesting. I think it's great for the wrestling industry. I think it's great to give these guys options. I think pro wrestling, whether we like the style of it or not right now, I think it's better for the wrestlers than it has been a long time. I think you've got two, AEW. I don't think they're the WWE, but I think they're a major league level wrestling company now, especially if they pull this off. ROH is booming. Impact is doing better than it's probably done since the early 2000s. New Japan has probably been the best actual wrestling company for the last decade in terms of actual wrestling. Mexico is, I think, starting to pick back up a little bit. Wrestlers are having options now. So I think it's definitely a lot better than it was when WWE was the only game in town.
Yeah, MLW as well.
MLW, absolutely, yeah. Gosh, I forget that. Court Bauer is the guy that owns that. I think Court Bauer. They've got a good thing going.
NWA.
NWA. That was my very next thing. They've got their Race to the Chase. The Chase Auditorium there in St. Louis. One of the, I guess historically most historically significant wrestling venues in the United States. I think Ric Flair's actually going to come back for that event. I forget what it is. And I think the NWA has the actual best world champion in wrestling right now. I think Nick Aldis is the best professional wrestling world champion going right now. I believe that.
What's that? You believe? Didn't
Nick Aldis.
His name used to be Magnus in Impact.
He was right? But Nick Aldis. If you've seen him, he's about 6'5". He's been around forever, but I think he's only in his mid-30s. But he looks like a professional wrestler. If you watch him, if you see him, anytime you see him on television or something televised, he's dressed to the nines. He's not sitting around in the Jimi Hendrix T-shirt like John Noble. He speaks well. He has good wrestling matches. He's able to go in the ring with a lesser opponent and elevate that opponent, make that opponent look better, make him look like a formidable opponent. I think Nick Aldis might be the best actual world champion in wrestling right now.
Absolutely, man. I mean, he is very talented. He's married to Mickie James.
Mickie James, yes.
Yeah, she's in NWA as well, ain't she?
Yeah, I think she is doing something with like an all-women show. I'm not quite as familiar, but they're doing like an all-women show, I think, and she's kind of the driving force behind that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so as well. But yeah, man, it was definitely a great interview, and I want to thank John Noble for being on. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.